Hey there, my fellow huddled masses yearning to breathe warmly. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Frostpunk 2. Episode 8, Experimental Oil Pumps. So let's, once the laws are off cooldown, and it's also worth noting, if you have an emergency, you can call an emergency council session to not wait for the law cooldown, but it does worsen your relations with all communities, so it's best to not use that if you can help it. So this is off cooldown in 4 days, and we'll try to pass a law on disease prevention.
Don't shield your apprentice from the dangerous aspects of your job.
Cheers.
This is how they learn.
So, contamination prevention. So the pilgrims supported quarantine, which increases disease significantly, but does require more housing. And then the stalwarts support infection badge, but increases tension. So in this case, I support the pilgrims proposal for quarantine because I don't want a permanent tension increase. So in order to get this passed, I need to negotiate. I'm going to negotiate with the New Londoners because they're the largest faction. And I'm going to agree to build an advance or research the advanced chemical hothouse. And you guys want me to help Hot Springs. Cool. Will do.
The delegates have spoken. The law takes effect.
So the pilgrims are a little bit happier with that result, and then tensions have gone down as a result of that as well.
The delegates have reached a decision. A new law takes hold.
And all I have to do is research the advanced chemical hothouse. There will be a bit of a temporary hiccup in that I am running out of food for this hothouse running, but I have other hothouses that I can rely upon in the meantime. We're looking pretty good. Things are pretty stable. Checking in on Old Dreadnought. So Old Dreadnought has need of a few more houses. Slightly more than a few. So let's expand their housing district. And I'll probably end up needing to build another housing district. In fact, I'm going to do that now. So if I overlap the oil extraction district by 1, it doesn't increase squalor. You need to overlap 3 to do that. So in this case, I have it near the generator, and then I'm going to expand it near the other housing district so it gets multiple benefits. The other thing I'm planning on doing is expanding all of my oil generating districts, so I'm going to create space near that one so that it can expand. And then I'm going to expand the other 2 already. Our stalwarts have decided to fully lean into oil, so I'm preparing to do just that. Huge investments into oil. Oh, and more people are living in New London, so let's ship some of them out to Old Dreadnought, because we just added some more housing in Old Dreadnought. There, Old Dreadnought's about 8,000 pop. And now these oil districts are double-sized and pumping a heck of a lot of oil. Oil exports. I'm going to reduce it a little bit so that we can start stockpiling here in old Dreadnought, because they need to heat up their own city too. It's not just New London that needs heat. Both need heat. Well, yeah, things are looking pretty good. So one other thing I wanted to build here was a vent tower to help deal with the excess squalor, to reduce it down a little bit because of the blasting coal mine, the chemical hothouse, and the machine-centric shifts. The blasting coal mine will go away pretty soon because we're going to run out of coal in 20 weeks. So that's not like a permanent problem. It will resolve itself. The other thing is I wouldn't mind stockpiling up goods, because we do have a lot of prefabs. So now my goods are in the positive too. So one thing I haven't done, which I'm waiting to do, is to formally make the transition from coal to oil. I'm just trying to run my coal down very, very low. So I'll probably make the transition around 5,000 coal left or so, or when the seams deplete, which is in about 20 weeks or so. So I've just been holding off on that purposefully. All right, the new people that moved into Old Dreadnought are here, so I need to rebalance food and population a bit. I like to move the food, materials, and goods up to like +2 or so that they're building a small stockpile cushion for when there's deficits. Certainly not needed to be done, but I like doing that. So now this housing district will have 2 adjacent bonuses, which will be pretty handy. Advanced fracturing pump jack. Perfect. So this is what, if we want like a ridiculous amount of oil, this is what we need. And this is what I was waiting to build. It costs a lot of heat stamps, but I am ready to really truly ramp up our production of oil when it's needed. So now, as you can see, this thing produces 350 oil, whereas the other ones produce 108. It is a massive difference, and that's the bonus of using cores. So when you start to invest your cores into production, the benefits just immediately skyrocket. So we're producing just a ridiculous amount of oil here, and I'm going to be exporting it out to New London. But what that means is New London doesn't really have a place to store it just yet. So I'm going to build a hub, a fuel stockpile hub here in New London right now. So that we can actually start putting the oil somewhere. So fuel stockpile hubs benefit adjacent workplaces. And if I build it here, the amount of workforce required to run these two things goes down by 10% each.
Let's do it.
So now our oil stockpile goes from 50k to 100k. So when we make the shift away, which should be done pretty much immediately, because we're really truly running out of coal at home, we can go oil and go big on oil. So to bridge the gap before we run out of coal, I'm going to change from gathering materials to gathering coal, so that our coal doesn't bottom out before I save up the materials to make the switch. And then I can also do the generator into overdrive just to reduce the amount of coal that I need. So now we're making the formal switch from coal to oil very soon. I just wanted to mine out all the seams here. So maybe make the switch in like, I don't know, 15 weeks, something like that. And we can keep the generator on overdrive for about 15 weeks. That's fine. So the next big research that I really wanted to do is the deep melting drill, because the deep melting drill will allow us to tap into the like near limitless supply that is under the ground. And we have a bunch of facilities that are actually running out of surface supply. So that's a relatively urgent thing, because this extraction district is running out of wood in 10 weeks. And then this extraction district is running out of food in 13 weeks. So without that research project, you know, those facilities just stop working.
Technicians are on their way.
Plus, there's an optional objective here, which is researching it and building 2 of them. And I need to build 2 of them, so that seems perfect. Frostland teams are done. So where did they explore? So there is a wreck with cores here. Perfect. I'll take it. And a food supply that I can harvest. So this food supply doesn't need a trail. It supplies 90 food until the deposit is depleted. So it's really these herds, these deer or elk herds, are really nice stopgap measures for when you just need a little bump of extra food. So I'm going to send my explorers to these mountains that are real. What I'm trying to do is explore around New London the most. Also, I think I want another fuel stockpile too. So let's put this one... I want to put this one here, so I need a frost break. I need a frost break. Because this is an iron supply that's like not going to exhaust for like 1,000 weeks. So I would like to reduce its worker requirement. Alright, looks good. Unwanted destiny. Family apprenticeship is less effective, but it does increase my relationship with stalwarts, or we can stay firm to increase relationship with the pilgrims. Let's go with stalwarts. I'm already maxed with stalwarts, but I want to side with the stalwarts when possible. Did more people move into the city? Oh no, just the levels of housing shifted. Okay. We're almost neutral. It's fine. One thing to build here in old Dreadnought is vent towers. The vent towers are definitely going to be needed because of the advanced pump jacks produce a lot of squalor. So in order to counteract that squalor, I need the vent towers. Looking good. The red square above the Pilgrims faction is fervor. So there's 3 levels of fervor, weak, medium, and strong. And the more fervor that they have, the more they will act upon their convictions. I mentioned this before, but it will be protests, riots, and war. And de-escalating their fervor is good. So, like, if I promoted the Pilgrims faction, it would reduce their faction fervor, but they would get more seats on the council. So I'm only going to really use that in a needed situation, because I don't want to drive more people to their faction. In fact, promoting the stalwarts might be a good idea, because the stalwarts rival them, or, you know, instead. I can also, if I had better relationships with the Frostlanders, I could de-radicalize the Pilgrims, so that might even be the best solution, is to befriend the Frostlanders to the point where I can, once I have favorable relationships, de-radicalize Pilgrims, because, you know, Pilgrims will then move away from the Pilgrim faction back to the Frostlanders. So let's do that. Let's grant agenda to the Frostlanders and let them vote on whatever they want to vote. So they want to change the community service to exploration time. I don't really care what the community service is. I don't, you know, right now we make a few extra. It failed. But it doesn't really matter if it fails or not. They're happy that I just allowed them to propose a law. So it's kind of like a, you know, a nice little bonus there. All right, because it's getting colder, my coal is really depleting pretty quick. Oh, this coal seam's gone. So, it is time to save up 200 heat stamps to make the switch over to oil. Because this last coal seam is gone in 8 weeks. And my generator is already on overdrive, just trying to keep it warm enough. So, let's make the switch. Oil pumps going in now. With the oil pumps going in now, I'm going to switch grabbing coal to grabbing materials again. Because my materials in New London was like bottoming out because I lost access to the wood here in this extraction district. Do I want to make a promise to them? Let's see. Research weather-adjusted shifts. Research heat cycling. Yeah, I'll make a promise to them. I like... Weather-adjusted shifts is not... or heat recycling is not a bad thing to have. If it does pass. So I'm going to research that too. Oh! Right. I still have to research chemical hothouse, and I'm running out of time for that. So I'm going to need to do that first. Otherwise, I fail to fulfill my promise. So this takes 22 weeks. And... Oh, no, I'm going to fail it to New Londoners. I feel bad about that. Because there's only 8 weeks left on that. I'll just take the hit for that. Because there's really not a way for me to get that done in time. So, yeah, I'll queue up heat recycling next. Sorry, New Londoners, that I made you a little upset. So heat recycling... I don't have the stamps for it yet. I'm about to recycle the buildings here. So I'm going to get a whole lot of refunds for getting rid of that coal seam extraction. Where is the heat recycling? I forget what that is. It's dispatcher. Oh. It's, yeah, here it is. Heat recycling. I could have used a second research building, but at the time it was built, I would have already failed to fulfill that. There's also another thing that you can do, which is rush. But that hurts trust. Essentially, even if I built a second research facility, and even if I rushed the researchers, I wouldn't have hit the deadline. And I would have hurt trust more by doing that than having not fulfilled that promise, which is why I'm choosing not to fulfill that promise. Because I couldn't do it in time, and attempting to do it in time would have pissed a lot of people off anyway. Criminals should not be allowed to hide behind walls. Crime is marginally decreased per surveillance watchtower. Or respect public space? Yes. So let's slightly improve relationship with all communities, because I don't currently have a crime problem. And I'd rather have a trust benefit. So here is exactly what I wanted to do. I have gained favorable relations with the Frostlanders, and now I can ask them to de-radicalize the Pilgrims. So the Pilgrims are a little bit more upset with me, but they don't have fervor, which is important. I'm building the first deep drill so that I can start to get more food again. Because otherwise we're going to run out of food in 11 weeks. Oh, and we made the official transition over to oil now. So I'm going to recycle this coal. We don't need it anymore. We don't use coal. And as you can see, our generator, I'm going to stop overdriving, uses oil. So it's optimized for oil alone, meaning we can't use coal and we can't use geothermal. Which means stockpiling the bejesus out of oil. The stalwarts rally of support. So they like me so much that they would like to either contribute extra workforce, contribute extra heat stamps, mobilize enforcers, or say nothing. They should continue their peaceful rallies. So let's try to pull this again to try to figure out how this works. And while I'm away, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I think this is a good opportunity for you to fiddle around to see if the integration is working, but I'll be right back. Still nothing, huh? Oh, that's a bummer. Hopefully the council votes will work once I'm in utopia mode. It might be one of the settings I need to set up. It's probably a setting, actually. So I'm going to choose heat stamps. I'd rather have income. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tinker with some of the Twitch settings. Oh, is it like... Maybe it's not even working right now. I might need to reauthorize it. That might have been my fault. Yeah, maybe it like lost authorization. Alright. Well, maybe this will work next time when we try to make it work. But thank you for tinkering with it. I'm sorry that it hasn't been working as intended. Alright, I want to set up even more fuel stockpiles. Huh. So I have a fuel stock... No, that's a material stockpile. I want to set one up, like, around here-ish. And now we're back to growing our own food using the deep deposit. Awesome. So our food is in the plus. Materials aren't quite in the plus yet, but they will be in a moment. Now, one of the disadvantages of the deep melters is they do produce squalor. So I'll have to continually combat squalor as we exploit underground resources. You can see the options now? Okay, good. Yeah, sorry about that. As you saw, it was enabled but had like lost authorization or something. So I've reauthorized it and it should be fine. Wait, I thought Why can't I build there? I think you can't have Oh, you can't have two hubs next to one another. That's fine. Oh, no, I didn't mean to click that. I meant to turn it off, not to blow it up. Alright, so, sorry, New Londoners. I didn't mean to fail to fulfill it. The thing is, they're still devoted. I had such good relationship with the New Londoners that even failing to fulfill their, what they asked for, didn't matter. Okay, there it goes. All right, so now we can stockpile oil up to 200,000. And one of our Frostland teams have completed their something. Let's see. So, there is Outpost 11, contains military warehouse from before the Frost. Over many years, the settlement here salvaged its contents from materials and cores, at one point temporarily declaring independence from New London. The warehouse is now empty. We could use it to as a storage facility. So I can either salvage the settlement for a massive amount of materials, or reestablish it as an outpost to be manned to use it for external storage. And I'm going to salvage it because I don't really need extra storage. And then this is Nansen's Stormwatch, which increases exploration speed. And I wouldn't mind having an exploration speed boost. So let's create a trail. It doesn't need to be the expensive Skyway, because it's not shipping resources. So I'll create a trail from that to the Skyway. All right. I'm going to temporarily stop shipping in resources so that we can set up another exploration team. Let's go to Ridgeline. What I'm trying to do is to have all of the Frostland teams be employed at any given time. So that they're all being productive without having me to, like, adjust the ratio of workers or anything. I'm almost done researching heat recycling, which is a fulfillment for the Frostlanders. My relationship with the Pilgrims is hostile, but they're not radicalized. They're not in fervor. And I don't really, you know, whatever. They can be hostile. I have guards. The other thing I'd like to do, once I have the heat stamps, is to add additional high volume extraction here in Old Dreadnought. So I only have one of the advanced fracturing pump jacks. I can have up to 6. So adding additional advanced pump jacks is something that I want to do here as well. Ooh, it got colder. And as you can see, there is even more cold on the horizon. So right now it's negative 50, and it's going to become negative 60 in a few weeks, or 30 weeks or so. So this was the heat recycling, and I'll put it to a vote, which will make the Frostlanders a little bit happier. Even if it doesn't pass, which it doesn't look like it will.
The votes are in. The measure fails.
And research. So the game wants me to research the surplus injectors. So this unlocks the ability to burn surplus fuel to increase the output of all districts. And we'll start researching that. I'm also going to change the amount of fuel that I export back to New London so that we're building up a bit of a supply here in Old Dreadnought, because I don't want Old Dreadnought not to have the ability to heat itself. We're still getting surplus fuel here, though. So the plan is, right before like the next big whiteout hits, I will try to send a team over to these oil barrels so that we try to max out our stockpile, and then we go 50k over. Or we go 50k over so that we can have a lot of stockpiled fuel for a whiteout. We have some additional Frostland teams. Is there anywhere easy to... Oh yeah, these plains are nice and gentle. So we'll send them out there. So we're going ridgeline and plains. You guys wanted me to access the springs. Actually, hold on, let me do that. Yeah, so in order to access the springs, we needed to rebuild this refuge. Done. It's been rebuilt. And then we needed to help them with their mushroom experiment. So we have to find where their mushroom experiment is. So they're growing like cryo mushrooms, let's call it. Basically mushrooms that are like cold hardy. And we promised to help them with that. So here is a rally. So the stewards rallied in this high-rise housing district, providing the bonus, as you can see up there, rallies to the bonus money. So I'm making even more income per week as a result of that rally, which is really sweet. So it's one of the benefits of having devoted followers. And that's a big one. I would like to continue trying to gain the Frostlanders' favor, so that I can essentially have them continually de-radicalize the Pilgrims when the Pilgrims become radicalized, because the Pilgrims are a bit hostile and probably will only gain hostility over time. So getting ahead of that hostility would be very handy. So I gave them the ability to attempt to pass something new in the council, knowing that it will probably be voted down because I have not, I haven't offered refuge to any of the Frostlanders out here. There is this one group which is not, I think, Frostlanders. It's just population growth. But all the other Frostlander groups here, I have not escorted them back to the city so that they don't. They aren't, you know, highly represented in our faction. So they started off as like 41%, and they're down to 22%. Because members of their group have joined other groups, like the Pilgrims, but have also defected to Stalwarts and New Londoners. Alright, this wood extraction site here only has 46 weeks left, and there's no deep deposit here. Which means once it's gone, it's gone. I do have the heat stamps to add another fracturing pump jack. So I'm going to add one here in Old Dreadnought. And then I'll probably need to add... Oh, I meant to expand their housing too. Oh boy. New people just moved into New London. So New London has a population problem. I'll solve that soon. I think the best way to solve it is to set up another housing unit here in this crevasse. So I'm going to frost break around it, so that there's adjacency bonuses for this house and then the new one, the new unit I put in. Oh, and we are now on course for the Progress Cornerstone. So adaptation cornerstone, as you can see, is quite a lot of progress here. And that bar is like 2/3 full. And then, you know, just gets pushing ahead and ahead and ahead. All right, that should probably, that I think will cover 30 out of the 35. So that's a pretty good swath. Also, Old Dreadnought is now making oodles and oodles and oodles of oil. So we can move even more of that oil over to New London. We're very close. We're 519 out of 600. So we're very close to actually maxing out what the sky lanes will be able to manage. And that might require us to further invest in like freight, so that old Dreadnought can send even more of its oil over. And this is the same vote for heat recycling that failed the last time, so unless people have significantly changed their minds, I don't think this will pass. But I can keep offering to the Frostlanders to propose it if they want.
The votes are in.
Because it makes them happy that they're listened to, even if it doesn't work out in their favor. As you can see, my relationship with them is, increased over and over and over as a result of granting them agenda. And there's no laws that I necessarily care about passing, so I don't mind them bringing it to the floor over and over again. That's totally fine. And it helps build up an arsenal of reputation with them to combat the Pilgrims' fervor. Alright, the plains have been surveyed. And we have bone traders that want to trade food for goods. I have a lot of food, so sure. And then this is the Hot Springs Mushroom Cave. So we can either take the mushrooms, which increases our food production efficiency, or repair the heating systems. And you guys voted that I repair the heating systems, so I'm going to do that. And this is the Hot Springs Mushroom Cave experiment, which means I can now access the springs. So if I add trails here to the hot springs, it will decrease the disease in the city and in colonies. So this will also benefit old Dreadnought too, which is good. It does require someone, a Frostland team, to be working there though. So there is a upkeep. And I can start harvesting the mushroom springs once it's connected up too, for a huge amount of food output. The random like deer herds give you somewhere between like 75 to about 110 food. These mushroom caves give 260. So that's a really huge amount of food to try to balance food budget deficits. All right, another survey team is just about done. There we go. So that was a textiles factory where I can take their uniforms or their scrap fabric. I'll take uniforms. And there is a woodsman. So it's a sawmill that I can either take by force to gain access to a materials outpost, or receive sawmill's research by reinstating the woodsmen as the leaders of a shipwreck camp. But I haven't discovered the shipwreck camp, so I'm going to leave that for now, to be discovered sometime in the future. Now that I have free Frostland teams, what I can do is I can create a Skylands path up to the... I want to call it an onsen, because that's pretty much what it is, this hot spring. And I have 15 teams left over. So let's survey this valley. And then with the 5 remaining teams, I'll start harvesting this herd so that at least they're all working. So now my food income is really, really high. I'm going to need another ventilation tower to combat the squalor, but the cold should be combated soon because I don't really have shelter scarcity anymore. And I'll expand one of these shelters. Actually, you know what I should do? I should expand the shelter that has the lowest heating cost that is expandable. But as you can see, the heating costs for these shelters are ridiculously high, and they're ridiculously high because it's very cold out. So I think this shelter here is the most expandable for the cheapest, so I'll expand this one. Oh, is that not frostbroken? Oh, is it boxed in? Oh, there we go. All right, checking up. So old Dreadnought looks good. When I get more heat stamps, we have so much excess workforce here. When I get more heat stamps, I'll set up more of the super jacks. The advanced fracturing pump jacks. I could do the regular fracturing pump jacks too. They don't require cores. And as long as I am supplying New London with the amount of fuel that I feel like I need to stockpile for like a whiteout, we could consider the regular pump jacks now too. So I think I'll build the regular pump jacks, and then if there's ever like a deficit, I'll go full Uber Jack. That's what I'll call it, Uber Jacks. I'm going to be losing access to this materials extraction district soon. So I also want to be planning a new materials district, and I'm going to be putting it over here. Because there's a deep frozen forest there, which I could tap. Thank you for tuning in to Frostpunk 2, which originally streamed live on Twitch September 21st. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind that I'm trying to avoid spoilers. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors.